we're leaving Vietnam and we're off to Thailand.
Yes. And so that was where we learned one of our lessons of I was trying to teach Brian to just roll with punches. Welcome back to Harley Malarkey on the Road. Here we are in Phuket, Thailand. We have been like within about 3 inches of each other for almost 2 weeks now. And I think we're starting to drive each other a little crazy. So maybe this will be a little bit of therapy today, a little bit of travel recap.
Yeah, I think where we left off was we had an interesting time in Hanoi, Vietnam.
Yeah.
Great time, eating some really funky food. Had we known now, looking back as seasoned travelers, we're a week we can hop into this.
Yeah.
What we did on that first night was the craziest stuff we've done on the whole trip. All right. The first night with Duke eating God knows what, where, who, we wouldn't have done that now. We thought that was just par for the course.
Yeah.
And we thought we were just supposed to dive in, which we did. And we dove in.
I'm glad we did, though. I'm glad we did. And we've had some interesting food experiences since then. I don't know that we need to detail each leg of our trip, but we'll see where it goes. So we left you, last time we spoke with you, we were on the boat in Ha Long Bay, which was beautiful. The first day was amazing. We were so excited to be there. We were like, this is awesome. It was a junk ship, not super luxurious, but...
Junk ship means it's a piece of shit floating. There was 4 crew on it, and we didn't even know that we had 4 crew until the last day. I was like, hand out tips like 2 days later. I was like, where'd this guy come from?
And they were really sweet. Tien was our personal guide, and he started off the trip really well because he was like, you look like this famous actress, like the lips. I'm like, I don't know. He's like, she was married to Brad Pitt. And I was like, oh, Angelina Jolie.
I mean, if you want a tip in a foreign country, tell your customer that they look like some exotic, beautiful American actress. I mean, you do. You have beautiful lips. You're gorgeous.
I've never gotten that before. I was like, I've never gotten it, but I'll take it.
Man,
I think it might be like
the bills at 10 after that. You know, they're like, oh my God, I love you. And then I was like, am I Brad Pitt? And he's like, no.
He was a sweetheart. I think we made him nervous, though. The food on the ship was pretty fucking horrible. I will be honest with that. And Ha Long Bay was filled with pollution. The water was super warm. He was telling us that all these fish farms, like half the fish die before they can sell them. And we got served dinner, and Brian was like, don't eat the fish. Don't eat the fish.
Don't eat the fish.
But he said it like under his breath. He's like, I don't know if I eat that. And then I didn't notice that he wasn't eating the fish. And I was like, I had a little vodka that night. And I was like, well, it's really hot and cooked. I was like, I'll just eat some of this fish. I ended up eating a lot of the fish. And all of a sudden realized that Brian had eaten 1 bite of fish. And I was like, wait, you didn't eat any fish? He's like, I told you not to. And I was like, well, you should have screamed a little bit louder. The next day, I did not feel so good all day. And by the evening, I was so nauseous, I couldn't get out of bed.
I'm a chef, right? And so I kind of go with identification. I couldn't identify what kind of fish this was. Probably a carp of some sort. It just was not quite right, no matter how much spice and weird stuff they put on that. But listen, yeah, so I said don't eat the fish. She ate the fish.
I didn't hear him. He's done this to me before. There was like this uni in Greece, and he was like, oh, I wouldn't eat that uni. Didn't hear him say it. I ate all the uni, and he's like, I wouldn't eat that uni. I was like, could you talk a little fucking louder? And he did the same thing with the fish. Like,
she thinks before we started dating, right, that mall poke is great. Now, poke is raw fish, all right? I only eat poke at very well-known places because you can put so much sinew and so much crap and so much, it's like, whatever. I take my raw fish very seriously. I take my cooked fish very seriously. And if I say don't eat the fish, don't eat the fish.
Yeah. And I was kind of under the impression that if some things like cooked really well and cooked really hot, like you're not going to get sick from it. But apparently that's not true.
When you look in the water and it looks like the toilet after a hard night drinking, you know what I'm saying? You don't eat the fish, right? I didn't even want to eat the shrimp. I didn't want to eat anything that came out of this water. I did catch my own squid at night when she was in bed, not feeling well. Me and the captain were out there jigging for squids with the lights on. That was kind of fun.
Yeah. So I think we can jump around a little. Did you have something you want to say?
No, I just want to say, just wrap it all up. This place was beautiful. It looked like it was out of a space movie. The islands were limestone, I believe.
Beautiful.
Gorgeous. Looked like something out of Jurassic Park. We're on a boat, but there's boats everywhere. So many Chinese tourists, so many people, so much going on. But yeah, we felt trapped on the boat.
Yeah, because I was thinking, oh, we're on a boat, we can go kayaking, we can go swimming, we can do all these things in the water. You're not allowed to swim in the water except for like two places that are just filled with hundreds of tourists that look really gross.
You don't want to swim in the water.
Yeah, so we were trapped with nowhere to go. So one day would have been plenty if you're thinking of doing that one night.
But before we get to Thailand, so we're still in Vietnam, even though we're in Thailand talking right now, what was so fascinating about Vietnam for me is the culture, the people, and the pride,
Yeah.
right? And it's a communist country. And we learned that, I mean, they just have such great values and they look out for each other. There isn't crazies walking down the street. They take care of their own. You didn't see like poverty. There was not a single beggar.
No.
Not one beggar, a lot of pride, just a really great sense of community. I really, really love Vietnam and would love to go explore South Vietnam where maybe the water's cleaner and we can swim.
Central Vietnam, I heard is amazing also. Yeah, I love Vietnam. Hanoi is one of the, I think, like top 10 oldest recognized cities in the world, which is pretty incredible. And it really was one of those experiences like, oh, this is what travel is about. This has opened my mind to a totally new way of living and like walking through the wet markets and seeing how they all shop for food and, seeing there's live chickens that they're killing right in front of you and butchering the pigs in front of you. And then, understanding that they eat dogs as a delicacy, like all of those things, seeing them without judgment. Because I think when you hear about things, you're like, oh, these people eat dogs. They're disgusting, horrible people. And it's like, well, no, you just don't understand their culture and you're judging something because in the context of everything, it seems wrong. But in the context of how these people have lived, maybe it's not so wrong.
Yes. I love it. And so a lot of you guys are going like, wow, when I go vacationing, that doesn't sound fun to go through these markets and this depth and this travel and this sweat and this grind and then riding on the back of the motorcycles and stuff like that. But so we broke it into, we want to be travelers. We want to see and immerse ourselves in the culture of these places that we go, but we do like luxury also. So now we're sitting at a really nice place in Thailand because we did our Anthony Bourdain. We did our hardcore, intense traveling. Little we know most of it happened in the very first night. We've decided that as travelers, there's a few different things. Sometimes there's the travel, the immersion, the culture, and all that stuff. And then sometimes they're just laying on the beach and drinking a Mai Tai, right?
Well, I think that's what we called vacation.
Vacation.
Traveling is like where you're kind of working for it and where you're putting yourself in uncomfortable situations where you're, maybe having some sleepless nights getting from place to place. And vacation is what we're doing now, where you're going to go get massages and relax in your room and order room service.
I think there's a fine mesh. I think you can do both.
Well, we are
doing both. And I think that if you just go to Hawaii and you lay on the beach at your resort, Hawaii, and you don't study a little bit of the aloha culture and kind of figure out what happened there, I really love learning about the people and the surroundings. And that's what we've been doing. We've been immersing ourselves in the culture.
Yeah. And I think we've learned some lessons in traveling. I'm trying to teach Brian to go with the flow a little bit more, accept things as they are when they've already been booked. It's a lesson we're learning.
Oh, yeah. When I get to a place, I'm like, what the fuck is this? She goes, you could have looked at the itinerary,
Yeah. And I think in travel, like situations come up. You get flight delays, like something isn't as you pictured it was going to be. And it's going to be a lot more difficult and a lot more unpleasant if you try and fight it. And you're like, why is this happening? Why did we book this? Instead of just being like, let's make the best of this situation we're in. Let's enjoy it. Let's laugh at the inconveniences. And as long as we're all happy and healthy, like we'll just roll with the punches. And I think that if you want to travel, you have to be able to kind of accept things as they are and roll with the punches, or you're going to be so uncomfortable and miserable the whole time. Not that you're like that, but.
No, but I do get edgy at times. One thing we did kind of discover about both Vietnamese and Thai culture is they're very team oriented, right? And they all kind of help each other out and stuff like that. And sometimes if there's a really long line, and we've seen this in several places, for something, for food, travel, for something, they'll just stand in the line. They won't question the line. And I question everything. I'm like, what the fuck are we standing in this? Like, there's nobody right there.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we have to be in this line. And I've learned that line is open for anyone that wants to just go into it also, right? So there's no like taking cuts in line in either of these cultures. And as Americans, we take a lot of cuts in lines. You know what I'm saying?
It's a collectivist society, and we're a very individualistic society where we're wolves. We're looking out for ourselves. And I think sheep is a derogatory term, so I won't call them sheep, but they're looking out for each other and the collective and how they fit in together.
The two most polite cultures I've ever seen in my entire life.
They're very, very polite.
We have not met an angry person, except the person who got mad at me when I took videos of the dog. Other than that, everyone has been the nicest people ever. Yeah. Where else do you want to go? So we're leaving Vietnam and we're off to Thailand.
Yes. And so that was where we learned one of our lessons of I was trying to teach Brian to just roll with punches. So we did have a really rough travel day getting into Thailand. We drove from Halong Bay. We took the long route, 3 hours. Then we had like 2 hours at the airport. Then we land in Thailand. It's like 6 p.m. And our tour guide is like, okay, we're going to take you to the hotel. It's going to be an hour to get to the hotel. And then once we take you to the hotel, we're going to start our food tour. It's going to be like 45 minutes to get to the food tour. And we're like, what the fuck? We're not going to get to the food tour until 9 p.m. and we're flying out at 9 a.m. Like, yeah.
So this is where she's telling me to be patient, because in my mind, I didn't look at their itinerary, right? But I'm like, oh, why the F did we not book a hotel next to Chinatown or the food zone that we want to go eat at? And why are we spreading ourselves out like this? And then we are on a flight out tomorrow morning. Like, we could have easily have stayed at a hotel by the airport, because you don't even need a nice hotel if you're just going to be in town for a minute, because we just want to see, I mean, it's one night in Bangkok. The song says 1 night in Bangkok, so that's what we're going to do, is 1 night in Bangkok. We just want to go eat and enjoy the city of 13 million people.
Yeah. And we have a travel agent that we work with for this trip. And in general, she's done an amazing job. She's booked things that I never would have found. That day, it's like, well, why did you put us on such a late flight? Why was this arranged this way? Like, it was confusing, and I think it deserved to be like, this is weird. We'll vent about it. But then we move on. Then we move on. And sometimes Brian has a hard time moving on because it didn't end up being good. We're like, okay, we're not going to go to the hotel first. We're just going to go straight into our food tour. And then we got to Chinatown. We're like, thank fucking God we're not sleeping in Chinatown. This is a disaster.
13 million people. It's insanity. We thought Hanoi was a little bit wild or crazy with 6 million, 9 million, whatever is over there. This was so many people on top of each other, trying to get the food, trying to get here, trying to get there. She said most of the housing in the downtown Bangkok area, they don't even have kitchens, because everyone eats out, and they're so busy and they're working and doing this that they just eat out at these stalls instead of having a kitchen in their own home.
I did notice, just an aside, we flew through South Korea. Nobody was overweight at the South Korean airport. We flew through, or in Vietnam, I didn't see like a single overweight Vietnamese.
Did you see overweight people in Bangkok?
Yeah, I did see more overweight people in Thailand. Well, no, not because it was all tourists. I mean, I think that the culture that you eat out at every meal and that you don't cook for yourself, and there was
a lot of fried food.
Yeah, a lot of fried food. That I did see more like unhealthy people in Thailand. Just not that means anything one way or the other.
I didn't see any avocado oil. I'm just saying, I didn't see any avocado oil, and they look pretty healthy for the most part for eating all that fried food. I'm just saying, I don't know. A bad note.
Okay. But Bangkok ended up being a great experience. After our Halong Bay on the junk ship, it wasn't like the nicest room. I got food poisoning. So like after our food tour, I've never been so happy to get into a nice hotel room.
It was a great hotel room. I wish we could have stayed there longer. It was absolutely gorgeous. There's a wedding going on the next morning.
We were on the river. It was like over where the Four Seasons are. There's like a couple nice hotels.
Real quick, I want to talk about our travel agent. So we use a travel agent, right? Now, you can probably book your own air. You can book your own hotel. You can do all of that stuff online. Very, very easy. But it's the little nuances that she books for us that are so spectacular, where for not very much money, you can have somebody meet you at the airport, help you get your luggage, help you get through customs. You're exhausted because you've just traveled far distances, and you have somebody that's speaking English to you going, all right, is this where we're going? They get you to your hotel and they drop you off. That is a luxury. That is worth buying.
And a local guide. Like, I've never traveled and had a local guide. I mean, I don't know that you need them as much to the places I've been. I guess in Europe it would be nice, but you don't need it as much in the same way. Like in Asia, I think you'd be a little bit lost in some cases without one. That was amazing too, to be with somebody who's like part of the local culture, who's lived there their whole lives and can take you to the right places and teach you about like
without Duke and learning about holding your arm up when you walk through traffic, we would probably be dead and the podcast would be over at this point.
Duke is my favorite.
Duke has been the
There's
best.
with the law and
Yeah, some political incorrect jokes and definitely some male stuff that was a lot. But, besides that, he was really.
no, whatever. We like it.
We,
Uh, So after Bangkok, we flew into Chiang Rai and we stayed at the Golden Triangle, which was fucking crazy. So the Golden Triangle.
Oh, now we're getting weird again. It's not completely weird. Here, the Golden Triangle.
The Golden Triangle is where Laos, Myanmar, and Thailand all meet. And we get picked up at
Myanmar is also known as
Burma.
Burma. Let's just call it Burma. That's a little easier to say.
We get picked up at the airport to go to, we're staying at this place called Anatara. It was an elephant sanctuary and it's like an hour drive in the jungle. And so we're like he's like, oh, we're 10 minutes away. And the whole time we've been driving through the jungle. And all of a sudden I look on the right and there's this giant like golden casino in this weird shape. And I was like, what the hell is this doing in the middle of
the other side of the river in the Laos,
yeah,
or the country of Laos?
And so he's like, oh, that's Laos. Like, that's not even this country. And it's so close. You're like, oh, that's so crazy. So we get to our hotel. It was like beautiful, amazing.
The Golden Triangle is where all the opium used to come from. We actually toured the Opium Museum, right? I was like, hey, where do you get the opium? Which they did not think was very funny. This casino in Laos. All right, let's not worry about the elephants quite yet.
It's gonna get there.
Let's talk about this criminal shit we're driving through.
I forget how we learned that it was like kind of sketchy, but somehow we're like, I think we just started Googling it. And it was,
well, I wanted to go to the casino. I got a little bit of a gambling thing. I like to gamble and I'm going to win enough money to pay for this whole trip.
So I Google, and it's this Chinese crime boss, that Zhao Wei or something like that, who
has built a city in Laos. Yeah, that's what it is.
And Laos is a very poor country, so the government kind of looks away from the crazy shit going on there because it's like the one thing stimulating the economy of Laos.
We're not talking just a casino in the jungle. We're talking a city. They're building an airport. There's skyscrapers. This is like an entire economy, probably bigger than the entire economy of the entire country of Laos. And it's because the Chinese need a place to go hide out. And what's it when you wash your money?
Oh, money laundering?
Oh, it's money laundering.
Yeah.
And they need a place to go sin because you can't gamble in China.
So I forget what kind of crime organization it was, but I looked it up and they sent like a journalist in there to go do some research. And she said she saw multiple multi-million-dollar transactions happening of like people exchanging chips or whatever in for over $1 million. She saw somehow like there was hints of like human trafficking going on there. I told Brian I couldn't go in there because as a blonde in a Southeast Asian country, I would get trafficked immediately.
But I was immediately going, well, that could be how I pay for the trip. I could sell Daniela to the Chinese and the trip's fully funded.
And I said, you're not getting the money. That's the whole point of human trafficking.
Oh, shit.
And then they do an illegal trade of tigers and bears underground.
A tiger and a bear over there if you want to.
And then they have these workers that are all basically locked in a jail, like locked in this building with bars on the window, who are doing online scams and stealing people's money. And
so that's right across the river there, and we can't get there. You can take a boat, I guess.
No, but it's the river to walk there. I asked them, they're like, oh, it's like 3 meters deep right now. Like they could just walk across the river to where we're staying.
Oh, it'd steal you?
Yeah.
No. I mean, I don't think so. Anyway, well, in Thailand, they don't have guns or anything like that. They don't.
Is that true?
Yeah. This place is safe. I mean, they're all very trustworthy here. And then in Burma,
Myanmar is a civil war going on.
A fucking civil war. I heard a gunshot. We were looking at the elephants. I'm like, that was a gun. And they're like, no, not a gun. I'm a country kid from Oregon. I know a gun. And there's an army base right there. And if you try getting out of Burma into Thailand, they shoot you. So that we heard.
Yeah. Yeah. Wild.
Chinese criminals over here. So here. And a beautiful little elephant sanctuary right here. Well, we're in a bubble. This is a woman that locks the doors wherever we go. We're in a bubble in the jungle with elephants by a civil war and Chinese crime boss.
I had no idea, or I would have been scared. But fortunately, I didn't start Googling until after our bubble experience, which was amazing. We had 2 elephants that spent the night with us. I forget one of their names. Our favorite one was named Linda, and Linda just loved hanging out with us. She was like, she had a crush on Brian.
Totally. Brian loved me. Because Danielle doesn't think that the elephants could understand English because they speak Thai, right? But I kept speaking English, and we had this universal connection. Like I said, Linda, move the log. Linda walked over there and moved the log. So if you're ever wondering if elephants speak English, they totally do.
I think she's already really old, but it was very special. Elephants are one of my new favorite animals. They're kind of just like giant dogs or giant puppies. Like they're playful, they're cuddly, they're smart. I loved it.
And that whole thing that they're scared of mice and really small things like rabbits, they said it's totally true. They've rescued a lot of these elephants from individual
like tourist places for the most part where they were being mistreated.
It's all very sanctuary and very nice and very ethical. And yeah, so the elephants were incredible, and we had the best food we've ever eaten at this resort.
Yeah, they had it was, I think, included. And it was all like a Thai buffet. And I was like, oh my gosh, a Thai buffet is my dream. Like you can try all the different curries, you can try all the fruits and the weird desserts.
And they didn't think I could handle the spice, and I took ice like a madman. I was like, bring me more, bring me more. Yeah, imagine the greatest buffet ever, and now make it Thai. Imagine all of your favorite things with those Thai, Vietnamese flavors. Oh, it was spectacular.
It was so good.
It was spectacular.
We've only eaten Vietnamese and Thai food the whole time we've been here, except for last night. They booked us at the American restaurant.
And you know what? Last night, it sucked.
Yeah,
it sucked. American food is so boring. I was like, how do we not have like chili crack paste on everything? How do we not have fish sauce on everything? Oh.
So we left Chiang Rai and we drove to Chiang Mai, and we did like a 9-hour road trip in the car. Beautiful, like just driving through the jungles of Thailand. My most familiarity with jungles is Costa Rica, so I kind of felt like I was in Costa Rica, which made me feel
like Costa Rica.
Yeah, it just was so beautiful.
We're having a great time. We've done some very, very intense things. The boat was fairly intense. That every time we go out eating, so it's a risk. We're doing some luxury things here, and we are doing some hardcore, dirty, grimy. You got to come home and you got to take a shower and brush your teeth as fast as you possibly can, traveling also. And I think that's what the moral of our story is. Don't just go be a bougie, lazy asshole out there and just go drink by the pool and not meet any culture and not meet any people and not have any fun. You got to go in there and experience what's really going on and then take a fucking break.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you need a break. Like you can just go down to Cabo for a weekend and just chill out and not learn about the local.
Even when we do go down to Cabo for a weekend, we do go eat good tacos at the great taco restaurant down there and stuff like that.
Well, we always eat local food. We're not big American food eaters, so we like to immerse ourselves in the local food experience. But no, I mean, travel how you want to travel. This isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
All right, that's a wrap. Follow us on iTunes or Spotify or YouTube. Leave us a rating and review. We love it. Send us in questions.
Yeah, I dare you to.